Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Vamily Morning show here this morning. I got a little bit crazy in here. This is our Autism Garden in here. Uncle Lisa Productions in here already. Um, and today I've got somebody that actually you're with me virtually, but you're actually not that far away from me physically compared to most
Right.
people that I've interviewed. So that's kind of cool. This is Evergreen Homestead. Um, I'm glad that you guys are here. Glad to have you guys here today. Um, and I think we came across each other in the Crocker family group, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Yes. Yep.
Yep. So what how did you find the Crockers? 'Cause I'm always interested in that because I came across it because he had like a funny video or about his time with Justin Rhodes or whatever, and that's kind of how I found him. So how did you guys find him?
I found them when they were a homesteading channel, when they were back at the shed to house,
Yeah.
and they had their little farm going. Yeah, that's when I started watching them. And then I really got into them when they did at the cabin, the grandma's cabin.
Mhm.
That's when I really started getting
Yeah, the
into
100 Day
listening
Ranch
and
challenge
doing
out
them.
there.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. And Rolling Through Reality is in here now. Our Epic RV Adventure, Kristen Hallbrook, uh, Living Giant in a Tiny House, Weibel Family Adventure, Scott Jacobs, B&D, Grimely Ghost. That's the first one in here. Welcome, Grimely Ghost. I haven't seen you before. Hey, Shanacraft. Hey, Artist. Um, hey, Artist. I hit that one. That one wasn't on purpose, but hey, it worked out perfectly. So, uh, you guys, we were talking, and you came from Arizona up to Washington.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you are originally from Washington and she was in Arizona, so you got her to come up here. A little bit more water for the homestead, like we were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you two meet?
Oh.
That's actually a funny story. My brother actually married her cousin,
Yes.
and I actually met her at my brother's wedding.
Yes.
So when they came into town, she came up from Arizona to visit her cousin and go to my brother and her cousin's wedding. We actually met at the wedding, and then about 4 months after that, I moved to Arizona to be closer to her, and we spent the last 6 years in Phoenix, Arizona. And then we got sick and tired of the heat, and I told her that we should move back to Washington, where I grew up. And so now here we are, and we're enjoying the cooler weather, except for yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, except for yesterday. It was a little hot yesterday,
Yeah, a little hot and humid.
which doesn't happen. Yeah, it doesn't happen too often here where it gets up past 90, and yesterday was one of those days. Um,
Yes,
but
yes, it was.
It's still cooler than down there in Arizona, though.
Definitely,
Oh,
definitely. Yeah, when you're in 110, 120-degree weather for 7 days, it gets old real quick.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
too hot.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And Beyond Beauty 3's in here now. Happy Place Camping, Highland Homestead. Um, so what made you in here? I apologize, guys. I have to be on Wi-Fi today. I got a couple days till I get my cell service going again. So if you see me go in a black screen, that's why in the audience. Um, but what made you decide to start doing YouTube?
Question.
Honestly, one of the first reasons that we had started doing.
Go to the patio.
We got a runaway goat. Sorry, give us a second.
All good.
One of the reasons that we had started our channel was a lot of her family still lives in Arizona, and one of the main reasons we started was we knew when we moved up here that we were going to be starting a homestead, and we kind of wanted to use it as a communication tool with her family and keep them updated on what was going on our farm and kind of what we were doing. And then once we started it, we kind of realized that maybe sharing our story, like watching all the homesteading channels that we watched, would encourage or help somebody else want to do this their own, because I mean, we've had a lot of fun since we started doing our homestead. So
Right. And And we were talking before we started. It it's really nerve wracking before you start putting the stuff out there.
It is.
It is.
It is very much so. Like I said, I was very nervous to get on camera. I was very nervous to do YouTube when I first started, and then we put out a few videos, and we got some, some good comments from people, and some, keep going, you're doing good, that kind of stuff, and it just kind of,
Good encouragement.
exactly, it kind of reinstilled kind of what we were doing, and kind of helped us continue doing what we were doing. So.
Right. And Living Giant in a Tiny House, they are in Golden Valley, Arizona.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Very
Okay.
nice. All right. Yeah, like I said, it's hot.
Yeah. And hello, Miss Southern Belle. So you got more people coming in here. Who would you say, like, you watched the videos and you decided you want to do homesteading and stuff like that? Was there one person or one video you guys kind of remember watching and being like, let's do that?
I'd say Jess from Roots and Refuge. I love her videos. She's amazing. She's very inspirational. She's got her animals too, along with her large garden. I'd like
bigger
to have
every
something
year.
like that.
Yeah, it does. It gets bigger every year. Yeah.
So how did?
Well, for me, it's a little different because I actually started watching Justin Rhodes' videos, and my biggest thing with him is watching another homesteader that has small children that are raising their children in that aspect and in that life. And I kind of wanted that for my children. My mother actually told me the other day, she said, I'm really proud of you for what you're doing. That's a great way to raise your children. And that's kind of what I wanted was, something that they could fall back on and something that they could use, in their lives in the future. And watching Justin Rhodes and his family and the kids milking the cows and all the stuff that they do on their property. Yeah, it's just kind of helped me want to get my kids, raised in that manner so that they had the same experience and the same, upbringing like that. So.
Right. And it's also, we were talking before, it makes them appreciate everything more. It makes them probably appreciate, like, if you go to the grocery store and there's a carton of eggs there, they probably realize it's just not magically popping up in the store. There's a whole process to it.
Exactly.
So, you're from up here in Washington.
Yeah.
So how did you end up down there in Arizona?
I moved down there for her, actually. Like I said, we started dating, and I decided to relocate to Phoenix, Arizona, which I didn't know what I was getting into when I did that. And then the first summer hit, and I went, what am I doing? What am I doing down here? And we just from there, like I said, it's been 6 years since we met. And so after 6 years of all that, we decided that it was time to go somewhere a little cooler.
Yeah. That heat down there is something, man. I was down there one time in the summertime when I was delivering loads, and they had a terminal there for the company that I worked in. And I remember, I don't know the exact heat, but I just remember walking across the parking lot, the blacktop parking lot, and it felt like you were inside an oven baking.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, there's videos on YouTube of people cooking steaks on the streets in Phoenix because the street's so hot that you could literally cook a steak on the street.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Roy and Becky are in here. Nomad Unbroken is in here. Sustainably Yours Homestead is in here, and also the Crockers are in here, which we were talking about earlier.
Hey guys.
So it's really cool to watch people get inspired by other YouTubers to start their channel and start doing stuff on YouTube. Have you had videos where you had to decide, well, I'm not sure if I'm gonna put that one out, or how to figure out what has worked for you so far?
There's been a few videos that we've made and then went, we're gonna not put that out. We're gonna delete that. We're gonna try that again. So yeah, it has been a learning experience. for getting the videos out. And like I said, it was a little nerve wracking at first to get on camera and put yourself out there. Yeah.
Yeah. And now that you've been doing it for a little while, is it a lot more natural to be in front of the camera for you? And
for sure.
Filming stuff?
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do the kids think about the YouTube channel?
They think it's great. Matter of fact, my 11-year-old stepson started his own YouTube channel and started putting videos of us. We just clipped our chicken's wings the other day, and so he made a video while we were making a video to put on his channel of me clipping the chicken's wings, and so he's getting totally into it and absolutely loves it. So I mean, it's been a good experience for everybody.
That's really awesome, and especially if he enjoys it, because it's something that he could take into the future with him. You know what I mean? Being creative with it now, even if it's not video in the future, just working that muscle of creativity. And that's part about being there on the homestead. You have to figure out solutions to problems sometimes very quickly, because you can't necessarily go around the corner to a store to grab something before all the animals get loose or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, I've had to patch fences with random things that I've found. I've had to fix fences with random things. You know what I mean? So it's been a learning experience, because you kind of have to use what you have on your property to keep going.
Our goats get out a lot.
Yeah, we have 2 Lamacha goats, and they like to climb the fence and eat the trees on the other side, and they've knocked down 3 or 4 horse fencing now, and so it's been a learning experience.
Definitely, it'll go far.
Right. They just want the food that's right on the other side of the fence, basically.
Exactly.
So, what has been the hardest part about starting your homestead? Then, is there something that you didn't, from watching videos, that you didn't realize was going to be a lot more difficult when you were there actually doing it?
Honestly, losing animals.
Yeah.
We've had some issues since we started, and we actually just lost one of our Lamacha goats the other day.
Yes,
so it's been one of those things where the kids are still, same thing with the kids. They're learning that, being on a homestead, you're using some of your animals for food, and some animals just, pass away naturally. And it's just getting used to that, because it's something that we haven't had to deal with before. So.
Mm-hmm. And what animals do you have there on the homestead besides the goats?
Right now we have 4 Kuni pigs. We have Lamacha goat. We have
chickens.
Two little dwarf Nigerian goats that are mainly our clearers. They help clear our pastures and all that stuff for us. We have chickens, roosters. We have rabbits, ducks, and geese as well.
Nice.
Oh, you forgot the podcast.
Oh, and we have we do. We have a bottle calf. He's about a 6-week-old Jersey bull calf.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice.
So that's been interesting. That's been interesting. We've never had to deal with a cow before, and bottle feeding is very, very interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. A lot different than bottle feeding the kids, for sure.
Oh, very much. So, yeah, they don't try to. The kids don't try to knock the bottle out of your hand when you're feeding them, or headbutt you. Yeah.
Good morning, Trip and Tracy, and Vanderella, and Linda Barker. Getting more people in here all the time, and Josiah C. When you is there some things that looked harder on video that are easier there in person?
Probably gardening, for sure.
Well, I was going to say gardening's a little bit tougher when it comes to weeds. Down in Arizona, you don't have the amount of weeds as you do up here in the garden.
Right.
Things grow a little bit easier up here, especially the weeds.
Yeah. When the water falls out of the sky all the time, stuff grows pretty easily.
Yeah,
it does.
Is there some stuff that you wish you could grow up here that you were growing down there, just because of the different climate?
Corn, probably.
Probably corn. It's a tough one. Pepper plants and tomatoes are harder to grow up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, we had a jalapeno plant that we had down there that did really, really well, and we brought it up here and didn't last very long. So it was a rough transition from the hot and dry to the the little cooler and humid. So we're still trying to learn the gardening tactics and stuff like that for growing up here versus in Arizona.
Well, I'll tell you that the tactic that I use for the slugs is you set out a bowl of beer and the slugs go into the beer, drown, and die. And that's the best method I found for slugs. And that's what my grandparents used that were up here forever. That's what they would use for the slugs. So
Yep.
What pest do you hate the most in your garden up here?
All right, so I have a thing about bees. I call them flying needles. I am terrified of bees. My garden failed this year because we had a giant hornet's nest above our front door, and I couldn't go out and water my garden, and it took us forever to figure out where the nest was.
Yeah.
So I know.
Well, I'll tell you the thing that you could look in, and it might help you with a fear of bees, because I kind of got over it too, is look into native bees, because a lot of those bees aren't able to sting you. They don't have a big enough stinger, like the leaf cutter bees and stuff like that. And I learned from learning about those that they fly at different levels. So like ones down at your feet aren't those are usually wild bees going after like clover and stuff like that. They usually don't sting you. And so once you learn more about the different types of bees, you can kind of look out and know which ones might and which ones might not. So
which ones to watch out for.
Yeah. Is there something that you wish that the land or where you're at now, because you were talking that it was on a hill, but do you wish the size was different? Anything like that?
We had originally wanted a little bit more property than we have. We're sitting on about 1.82 acres right now. And again, our house is built to where our front property slopes down, and then behind us here is the back part of our property, and it actually goes up. We do have another almost half acre on the top of that hill up there that we're in the process of clearing to move the goats and pigs in that area there, so that we can use the bottom pasture for other animals. So yeah, maybe a little flatter, maybe a little bit more land, but in Western Washington, flat ground is kind of non-existent.
Yeah, there's very little places where it's just flat in Western Washington.
Yes.
I can think of a few places, but those are all covered with farmland already. Any of the places that are flat around here, they're used up for sure.
Yeah.
Is there something that you had to get used to being in Washington since you aren't from here?
I have to get used to the cold. On a very nice sunny day, sitting in the shade, I have to put my sweatshirt on because I'm from Arizona, where it's 120.
Yeah, hoodies are good for year round up here, basically, because it doesn't get too hot, but it also doesn't get too cold in the wintertime either. So that's the best part. Like, there's plants that you can't grow, like the corn and stuff like that, but there are other plants that you can keep and have because you don't really have the freezes, so they'll last through the winter and all that kind of stuff. And that's one thing that I've liked. And Misty Pruitt is in here now. Hello. So what is something you would tell somebody out there that is thinking about starting a channel, but like you was afraid at first? What is your what is your advice to them?
I mean, to be honest with you, go for it. I mean, that's kind of where I had to get to, was, just getting out there and just do it once. And, if it's not something that you're into or want to do, then, at least that. But like I said, I was very, camera shy at first. The first few videos that we put out on our homestead, it was just my wife doing it. And then after a while, I finally decided that maybe what I had to say was going to help, somebody else on their homestead, or inspire them to want to do what we did, like the channels that we watched. So I just say go for it. I mean, it's a very daunting thing to put your life story out there and talk to, people on YouTube that you don't know, and people from all over the country. And, I mean, like I said, it's just something that you got to just jump into with both feet and, just get your story out there, because there is somebody out there that's going to want to hear what you have to say.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny, it starts out that way. And then after a little bit, you're like, I'm not getting very many views. So at first you're scared of people hearing you, and then you're like, why are people watching me? What's going on?
And I noticed myself doing that too. We put videos out and I'm like, there's not many people watching it. We check our channel every day. And so it's one of those things that you just get to growing process. We're learning how to put the videos out. And like I said, the first few videos we did, editing them was kind of a daunting task to make sure that we were doing it, the way that we wanted to. And so,
yeah,
it's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I like to be the one to edit the videos. I think that's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you think editing's fun, then you should edit videos for sure. And Weibel Family Adventure says thanks so much for the encouragement. So you already encouraged one person there.
Awesome.
Is there something that you would suggest to people that want to go start homesteading after watching YouTube videos or watching other people do it? Is there something that you suggest to them that you learned after you started yours that maybe gets left out normally?
Well, a lot of the things that we had to do was, again, because neither one of us had done homesteading or anything like this before, we put a lot of time and energy into not only watching people on YouTube, but doing our own research, looking up the types of animals that we wanted for the area that we were in, the animals that do well where we are versus, some other homesteads have animals that on our property wouldn't work for us. So you just got to kind of figure out what's going to work for your property, what's going to work for your family, what you need. If you're doing it for food, if you're doing it to make money, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where you kind of have to figure out what you want out of it, and then do the research. Go on, look at the animals, figure out what it's going to cost you, what it's going to take for you to raise those animals and do what you want to do with them. I think that was one of our biggest things that we spent a lot of time doing was research.
Yeah, I originally wanted Mangalitsa pigs because they're the Kobe beef of pig. I wanted lavender Orpingtons because they were beautiful, but now we have barred rock chickens. We have Kuni pigs instead of the Mangalitsas.
Yeah.
I think the only animal that we got that I really wanted were lamachas.
Were the lamachas for the dairy goats? Yeah.
And KNR, hello. Nursing Our Travel Bug, hello. And they uploaded their first video in 4K and said they might not do that again. So there's a suggestion for you guys. Is there videos that you had a lot of fun filming so far?
I mean, honestly, I like giving informational videos. And one of the videos we just put out recently was a video of me trimming our chickens' wings. We had issues with them flying over our fences. There's also going to be some other videos that we're going to be putting out about, I do a lot of fishing and crabbing, and I've been looking for a lot of things online about, how to set up crab pots, how to do that kind of stuff. So I like the informational videos that give people, things that I've had a hard time finding online for myself to do. I want to put out videos like that that'll give people the information to do things in the area that we're in and or in where they are that will, help them with their homestead as well.
Right.
And I'd like to say my favorite video was the vet visit video.
Yeah.
That one was a lot of fun, having the vet come out to our house and check our herd.
Yeah. So
was there
a lot of good information from her?
Was there something, were you kind of worried before she got there to check everything out? Like, was there things you were worried about with the animals?
Well,
the reason she came out is our goat had a horn that was growing into his head. He wasn't very well taken care of before we got him. So they had to come out and they had to razor off the horn.
Yeah, a bunch of the animals that we got, I don't want to say we rescued them, but the situation that they were in, where they were located, was very, dirty, and they weren't doing very well. So we kind of took some animals in that were already having some issues, because we wanted to, bring them and give them a better life and give them a home where they could, grow and flourish. And so we were a little nervous about that because we weren't sure kind of what problems came with the animals we got. But after she left, she gave us a lot of good information. We learned how to trim the hooves on our goats ourselves. So there's a lot of things that we learned from our vet, and she was more than happy. We actually videotaped part of it. And she gave us a lot of good information on things that we can do to help our goats grow and, flourish where they are now. So, but that was definitely a concern when we got our animals, for sure.
Right. I'm sure she was happy to see somebody taking care of the animals now and wanting to treat them better than where you got them from too.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Very, very much so. Very much so.
When you look at things like having that come out and other costs at the homestead, is it more than what you had researched, or is it about where you thought it was going to be?
A little bit more. And that just kind of comes with the territory. Like I said, we had our home visits are a little bit more expensive than us transporting our animals to the vet. And and our situation right now is we're in the process of getting a trailer that we can haul our animals to the vet rather than having them come out here, because it is much cheaper if you can get your animals to them versus coming out here. And then of course, with everything going on in the world right now, it's even harder to get people to come out, and they're not, they're charging a little bit more now than I think that they would have in the past. So
right. What's one tool that has been indispensable for you guys there on the homestead?
I don't know if I'd call it a tool, but our kids are actually huge helps on our property. They want to learn. They want to help. I mean, I've got, like I said, my 11-year-old stepson. He goes out with me in the morning and he bottle feeds the calf for me, and we do all the hay together. And so they've been invaluable to our homestead because they want to learn. They want to be out there helping us, and that's been, again, great for them, and also helping out the animals and all that kind of stuff. The other thing is the horse fencing. If I didn't have the amount of horse fencing. Oh yeah, zip ties are invaluable too. If you don't have them, buy a whole bunch. You're gonna need them.
Hello, Bob the Raptor and Joe. How are you guys? Yeah, gotta take care of your dog mammals. Vets are cool.
Yeah. Yes.
What do you hope to accomplish this year on your homestead? Like, do you have stuff planned out every year that you'd like to add and things like that?
Yeah, right now, within the next 3 months, I'm actually going to be trying to reestablish her garden. We had started it, and then, like I said, our first attempt at it kind of tanked a little bit because it's a learning experience, and we're trying to learn what grows and how to grow it and what to grow next to other things. And we actually had some books on what plants grow good together, what plants you shouldn't put together.
Parents love tomatoes.
Yeah. So, and I've been in the process of building her raised garden beds that we can start using on the back side of the property. Because again, our property is shaped kind of weird that we kind of have to use the land to the fullest extent because we don't have a lot of usable property on our homestead. So kind of got to make things up as you go along. But the garden for sure is something that will be getting fixed and getting back up and running in the next few months. So
yeah, those are always an experience for sure. The gardens, I think it's always an experiment every year because the weather is always different. You know, you can plan the best you can and learn the best you can, but Mother Nature can still change your plans with your garden.
Yeah, and we have found that out.
And Weibel wants to know, what animals do you guys want to get in the future?
Do we want to get any more animals?
Yes, we do. We do want to increase our herd and get more diverse animals. But a lot of what we're looking at right now is, instead of increasing the amount of animals we have, we're looking into breeder ducks. We're looking into breeder chickens. We're looking into breeding our lamachas so that we can be self-sufficient. So that the animals that we're bringing onto our property are animals that we have, done, birthed and raised on our property, versus having to go out and spend more money to bring animals onto our property. So that's a big thing we're trying to do right now.
Well, one more animal we are looking into getting would be a Jersey heifer.
Yeah, for the milk purposes of it. Yeah. So we already have the bull, so we're trying to find another heifer that we can use for, again, breeding and milk and all that kind of stuff as well. So we just want to be self-sufficient, and so we don't want to have to go out and bring animals to our property. We kind of want to be able to have our animals reproduce animals on our property so that we can be as self-sufficient as possible.
Right. Just any way that you can, not to have to be reliant on the outside, is better, especially if you haven't learned during this time that it's all an interlinked system, and if links fail, then the whole system breaks down. So
yep.
And hello, construction cronies, thanks for stopping by. I know you're at work, so you can't stop by. And what has been like a really cool experience so far for you on YouTube? Like, have you gotten any comments from people that you were really surprised about, or
not from anybody in particular. We did get one comment on a video about a lady who had said, your family is, a beautiful family, you guys are doing great, keep it up, keep going. And it's comments like that
inspirational comments.
Yeah, the ones that just, reiterate what we're doing is, reaching somebody, or somebody is, getting something out of what we're doing. Right. That's definitely been a huge thing.
Right. And it's always interesting to find out what people can take from your videos, because it might be something that you don't even realize is in there, and somebody can take something that you say or something that you do and be like, oh, that's really awesome, and you're like, I don't even remember that being in my video.
Right.
So
exactly.
Well, one thing I was a little shocked at was our last video, I had put a picture of our bottle calf in there, and he's a Jersey. Jerseys are thin, and somebody had made a comment about, your calf is too thin. So that, I didn't notice how thin he was. Sorry, somebody just let the cat out.
But again, it's a learning experience too. We've never had a calf before. We've never, bottle fed, and so we're trying to do what we can. He's finally on solid foods now, so we're supplementing the bottle and a little solid foods every day to try to bulk him up a little bit. But again, this is something that we've never experienced before, never had to deal with before. So I mean, it's been kind of a back and forth, up and down roller coaster ride, and it's sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, and we're just kind of doing what we got to do to keep moving forward.
Oh yeah, for sure. And thank you, Bob the Raptor and Joe. Thank you so much for that, guys. Yeah, it's like you said with YouTube, it's a learning experience on YouTube too. Learning is depending on where you start from. Some people, like, I didn't really have any filming or editing background when I started. Some people do. Where did you guys start out with that? Were you already doing some like home movies where you were filming and editing, or was it just starting?
Yeah, YouTube was where it started, and like I said, I let my wife take care of all the editing of the videos, because that's just not my thing. I'm not. I just can't. She loves doing it, so you know what? I'm like, if you love doing it, then that you're in charge of that, honey. And I just let her kind of go with it and do what she's got to do. So, but no experience before YouTube. YouTube is actually helped us learn how to edit videos, how to piece videos together, put music with the videos, that kind of stuff. So it's been fun kind of watching her, how she puts the videos together after we film them. So
has there been videos that you've watched now that you're able to edit and all that kind of stuff? Is there videos that you've watched and been like, I want to try to do something like that? Like, how did they do that shot? Or I want to figure out how to edit something like that.
Honestly, when I watch the Crockers, his editing is beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, we watch a lot of his videos and a lot of the ways that he edits and how he does his cut scenes and that kind of stuff. And then the fast forward through when he's doing process and projects and stuff like that. We're still trying to kind of figure out when we're doing a big project like that and we want to show the whole thing, how we condense it down into a fast forward kind of cameo of it and kind of get that started. And but yeah, a lot of that kind of stuff too is when we're doing big projects, I want to be able to show everybody without having to put a 15-minute video out.
Right. That's a learning process to learn that too,
Right.
Right. And you probably do this as well, or notice this as well. As you've done more editing, if you don't enjoy the video, like after you've had it done yourself, it's like, I don't want to put that out, because if I don't enjoy it, who else is going to enjoy it?
Yeah, exactly. And again, we've scratched a few videos because of that exact fact.
Hold on, goats on the patio.
Run away, goats again.
And hello, Britain Farm Homestead. Hello. Hope you're well too. When you were deciding to do the homestead, and you were going out to Arizona, was there anywhere else besides Washington that you guys thought about going and starting a homestead?
Not really. The reason being is, again, I grew up in Washington State. My whole family is still up here. And so we had wanted to move, number one, closer to my family and my parents, because they're getting older and up there in age, and we wanted to be close to home and stuff like that. And then again, once we started researching properties up here and then animals and plants and things we could grow up here, we just, the vast amount of things that we're able to do up here because of the way the weather is up here was very, very appealing to us starting our homestead.
Yeah.
Right. It's a lot easier on the animals up here too.
Yeah.
Not just gardening wise, but you don't have the extreme heat or cold, so the animals are a little bit more taken care of. And James Michael Braden, if you have a channel or whoever that is, let me know. But thank you very much. That way I can get you in there if you have a channel. If you don't, thank you. I'll put you on there anyway. But what made you guys choose where you're at in Washington? I know it's not too far from where you were at when you were younger, but is there some special reason why you chose there, or is it availability?
To be honest with you, we had actually looked at a few different properties around Western Washington. A couple of them fell through. One of them just wasn't going to work for what we wanted to do with it. And not only that, but I wanted to be close enough. Like I said, I'm a fisher and a crabber, and so I like to be close enough to the ocean where I can go out and go fishing and drop a crab pot and bring other food into my house, that my family can use, other than just the animals on my homestead. And we're a hop, skip, and a jump from the water. I could walk to the water in about 5 minutes, throw my pole in. So that was definitely a necessity for me, was to be near somewhere near the ocean that I could go out and do those things.
Yeah, because that's another source of food for you. If something happens or whatever.
Exactly.
And living giant in a tiny house, awesome. Email me your channel link. It's going across the bottom, so I can make sure I get the right channel on you. And awesome, Kristen, you got one of my stickers. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I got you. Just email me so I can get the right channel link for you. I want to make sure I put the right one in, because I had an issue with Thomas Jordan that was on here. I had trouble making sure that his was the right one, because there was two of them. So I always want to make sure I have the right one. Has there been a steeper learning curve, either on YouTube or homesteading, than you thought it was going to be at first?
I don't know if it's a steeper learning curve. There's definitely a learning curve for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But like I said, we had put a lot of time and energy into getting the knowledge that we needed to do what we were doing before we started. So when we started, it was just kind of applying the things that we had learned to our own homestead. And again, like I said, every homestead is different. You deal with different aspects. I mean, we have cougars in the area here. One of my neighbors lost a dog a few weeks back to a cougar. So that's another thing that we have to watch out for is, predators and animals that we hadn't actually thought about before we moved up here. There are bears in the area as well. So just making sure that our flocks and our livestock and everything is safe and protected from predators is definitely something that we hadn't thought about and have had to make adjustments for since we got here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Kristen, just email me. I'll get it up there. Because I know you're starting out, so I want to make sure send me the link so I can make sure it's yours. Because look, my channel was hard to search for in the first place, so I want to make sure if I'm going to put your link in there, that it's the right link for sure. And forever best friend, homesteading is not for the weak of heart. It's a lot of work.
Yes, it is, and that's one thing too. We put a lot of time. I mean, I'm outside on the property, probably 6 to 8 hours every single day, doing this, doing that, fixing this, making sure that everything's going properly, pulling eggs, and so it's a lot of work. And it's very right. It's not for the weak of heart. I mean, you have to want to do this because you get into it and you don't want to do it, and it's tough. It really is.
Yeah, I'd say the same about living in a van or an RV full time or whatever. You have to want to do it because there's things of that are challenging. It's not just it looks one way when you're watching on the screen, but it's not when you're there in person and you haven't showered for a week or whatever and starting to be ripe. It's a whole different situation being on the road. So
right.
And how to garden. Hi, how are you? We were talking about that earlier today. And there's their link if you guys want. It's been going through. Go over and say hello to them. So you started the homestead and the channel about the same time then?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. The channel started, I think, a few weeks after we had got our first animals onto our property, got the first garden that we had established. And then from there, it was about the same time, about a 2-week difference between when we started and when we started filming.
Yeah.
So was that something that you guys had thought about before you left then? Not just starting the homestead, but starting the channel about the same time?
I wanted to start filming when we were moving up here. I wanted to film the drive. I wanted to film us packing up our house and the truck, but it was just so much with the kids and the actual moving that we didn't get around to filming any of it.
Yeah, moving is chaos, especially when you're moving multiple states away and not just down the street. So it was a lot more than we were expecting, but yeah, we wanted to do a lot more filming before we got here, but it just, like I said, with kids and moving, it got kind of chaotic.
Right. And I've been a mover before, so that I really have empathy for people that are moving, and I've done a lot in my life. Just myself and my personal life moved. If you've never moved where you've done across states, it's you got to make sure you have everything because you can't just go back and grab the next load to get there. So.
That's true.
And forever best friend, they used to have 250 acres to take care of with my family. It was great, but it was lots of work. 250 acres, that's a lot of work.
Yeah,
that is a lot.
I can only imagine the work that went into that property.
Yeah. And they forever best friend wants to know, have you ever thought about a 24/7 cam, like a chicken cam or a garden cam?
Actually, yeah. The main reason that I wanted to set something like that up again is because on the top of my property, we're going to be moving the goats and pigs up there, and I wanted a way to monitor for predators and stuff like that. But we have talked about doing a 24/7 cam and then linking it to YouTube too, so that people can watch if they want, or making sure that we can keep track of our livestock and stuff that we have. So from our house without having to walk clear up to the top half of the property to double check that everything's okay. So that is definitely something that's going to be coming.
Well, and that's like you really most people that live around here kind of do it already. But if you're not from here, um, you kind of got to put it out of your head what predators are out there, even for you walking around. Because like you're saying, the cougars and everything. Because up
Yep.
here in Washington, in Western Washington, especially, the brush and everything's so thick you can't
see
see it
'em.
anyway.
Yep.
So if all you're doing is thinking about it, every time a twig moves or whatever in the forest, you're gonna think something's there for you.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
And Highland Homestead wants to know, how much property do you guys have?
We have 1.82 acres. And again, like I said, the property is kind of situated kind of funny. So it's not a flat piece of property. We have part of our property that slopes down in the front. And then at the top of the hill behind us, we have about a little more than a half acre at the top of the property that is flat. But it's uncleared right now. We're in the process of using our goats to clear the top half of our property so that we can expand the amount of room we have for our herd.
Yeah.
Have you made any because you got the goats for dairy stuff, so have you made like cheeses and all that kind of stuff yet?
Not yet. No, not yet.
She wasn't in milk when we got her, and Lamacha is going to heat November, December. So they don't do it every month like other goats. So we haven't had any goat milk as of yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Though. But eventually, yes, that's the plan. Is goat's milk. She also makes soap, so she's going to be doing goat's milk soap and that kind of stuff as well. So
very excited for making soap.
Well, that's actually kind of impressive and kind of smart, or kind of smart of that species of goat when you think about it, because that way the goats are never going to be born in the middle of winter.
Yep.
They're always going to be born when there's abundant food, at least.
Yep. So, exactly.
Yep. And later, living in a giant tiny house. Awesome! I can't wait to see a new video that you're posting. Then that'll be awesome to see. Is there any YouTubers that you kind of would like to meet one day, or kind of visit with, and just have a chance to talk with and pick their brain?
I mean, there's actually a few. The three that come to my mind would be the Crockers, Justin Rhodes, and then Dutch from Keeping It Dutch. We watch those three quite often, and to get information, knowledge, and not even just that, just to see what they're doing, see what their family's doing, see what their daily life is like. And I think that those three would probably be my top three that I would want to sit down with and pick their brain a little bit, and kind of figure out what more knowledge they could instill in me to make sure that, my homestead, can thrive like theirs are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd have to say I'd agree with those three.
Yeah.
Well, you'd probably add Jess from Roots and Refuge too.
Well, absolutely.
Of course. Yeah, we watch her garden tours all the time, and so we love Jess from Roots and Refuge as well.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing to see, and like a lot of these people I watched since they were like lower amount of subscribers. So it's kind of cool to see where they went with their channel and what they've achieved so far. And then as you're coming up as a YouTuber, you start to realize, well, it's the same type of path, because they all started with 0 subscribers and got one. And so just keep working on it. What's your goal for YouTube in the next year? Like by this time next summer, where would you like to be at?
Where would we like to be at?
I mean, again, honestly, it's more the education that we're able to give people and help people. Of course, we want more subscribers and we want people to watch our videos and stuff like that. But I really want people to get something out of our videos. I want them to learn something or see something that they can use. I actually made a video showing the goat paddock that I built. A neighbor of mine gave me about 15 or 20 pallets and I actually built my goat shelter out of pallets and T-posts. So we put a video out showing, the structure of that and how I did that. And the main reason I did that was because I wanted to give that knowledge to somebody else that says, hey, you can build your homestead with materials that people are throwing away.
Yeah.
They're throwing away pallets left and right, and I was able to, scoop them up and repurpose them so that my goats had a home.
Yeah, yeah. I've known about pallets for a long time because my grandpa, they used to have, the only heat they had was wood burning stove, and so he used to go drive around and pick up pallets and then saw them apart and use that for firewood.
Yeah.
So, it's always hard to look at some stuff in a different way until you see somebody else do it.
Exactly.
So I'm sure somebody probably wanted to do exactly what you did and probably passed by pallets every day and know what T-posts are and would have never thought to put the two together.
Right, exactly. And that's kind of why I want to be putting out those kind of videos, to give people information that they may not have known, or things that they can use on their homestead that they may not even have thought about using, because, why would you think, a goat pen and pallets, they don't usually go hand in hand, but when you're able to repurpose things, and like I said, we repurpose things on our property all the time. I mean, we pulled old fencing down and reused it over somewhere else. We've reused gates and fencing and all sorts of stuff because it's much easier to repurpose something on our property to continue our homestead than it would be to go down and spend, hundreds and hundreds of dollars on the things that brand new things and stuff like that. And I mean, it kind of gives us a little bit of an edge, I guess you would say, because we're able to reuse a lot of the stuff we have on our own property.
Right. And well, I mean, there's a lot of, just because of being up here in Washington, there's a lot more wood available than there is down there in Arizona too.
Very, very much so. And that was one of the things I did when I got here. I took a bunch of trees down on my property, and I have a shed full of wood right now that's weathering, so that by the winter time we'll have, firewood for inside our house. We do have a wood burning fireplace inside, just in case, because we are kind of a little bit further away from the city limits that I would like. And if a tree falls the wrong direction, power goes out pretty quick out here.
Yeah, it does. It does for sure. Well, and I never understood that. Like, all these other places that I've been in, all these other states, like, most of them do underground power. So I'll never understand why they haven't decided to start, when the line falls down, let's just start burying the lines as they fall down, because the trees are just going to keep falling on them.
Oh, I completely agree.
Yeah. What has been your experience with, because when I was younger, moving around, it was really hard to adjust to going to a new school. So how have your kids adjusted to the move to a different state and having to make new friends and all that?
Well, they've made friends pretty quickly with our neighbors. They have 4 girls. We have 3 boys.
Oh, awesome.
They range in age from 11 to 4 to 3. Our 11-year-old is going to stay in Arizona during the school year with his dad. And then our 4 and 3-year-old haven't started school, but I am planning on doing homeschooling because of everything that's happened in the world. I feel more comfortable doing homeschooling.
Yeah. And no, Matt, I'm broken. His bed is made of pallet wood. Yeah, there's another thing.
See, again, I wouldn't even have thought of making a bed out of pallet wood. That, like I said, that's awesome. That is awesome.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. Is there a place that you took her when you came up here, like that you used to go when you were a kid or whatever, that you remember from then, and you took her to show her kind of what it was like?
Ocean Shores, actually. I took her out to the ocean again. She grew up in a landlocked state in Arizona, and contrary to the song's belief, there is no oceanfront property in Arizona. So I wanted to take her out and show her the ocean. We spent a day out on the beach and just wandered and walked, and kind of showing her how I grew up and the places that I used to visit when I was a kid. And just give her an experience that you can't get living in the desert in Phoenix.
Right.
I love living next to the ocean.
It probably added a little more color to the stories you told you over the years too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
very much so. Right. Well, and it's nice to see green again every day and not different shades of brown.
Right. Yeah, that gets old real fast.
Very much so. Very much so.
Is there one thing that you do miss about down there in Arizona, though?
No,
not at all. Actually, not really. I mean, I'm a golfer, so I did like the fact that I could golf year round down there.
Right.
But other than that, no, we're happy being back in Washington and again being near the ocean, and the ground's not flat. You can't see halfway across the state when you're driving.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
I have to say, though, one thing that I do miss is my family.
Yeah, her family's still down there.
But they're actually up here visiting us right now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. They might get hooked on it and probably move up this direction.
That's the plan. Yeah. That's the plan.
And Casual Girl Adventures, good morning to you. So how when you first moved there, like, how did you get to know your neighbors? Were they kind of like wondering who the new family was moving in, and wondering if you were gonna be one of the people that were gonna complain about their animals?
Right. Well, we live on a private road. There's only 4 houses, technically 5 houses on this road. And the house, the property in the house that we actually purchased was a rental prior to us buying it. And so they had just assumed, more renters moved in, and then they actually came up, introduced themselves, and again, they have 4 girls that are about the same ages as our boys. So as soon as the kids knew that they had friends they could play with, all of a sudden they became really good friends. My wife and the neighbor are like best friends. We're down there every day. They come up here every day. We rotate who's going to cook dinner the next night, and so it's been a lot of fun for the kids. Yes, very quickly too.
So it's kind of a blessing that those other properties fell through then, because you never know what kind of neighbors you could have ended up with, and you ended up with a good neighbor where you're at.
That's true.
Yeah. One of the properties we were looking at, it did fall through. But we had the inspection done on the house, and the inspector basically said this house needs to be demolished.
It was an 81-year-old house.
Yeah. So, and when that property fell through, my mom was trying to, console her because she was upset about it. She really wanted that piece of property, and she said basically everything happens for a reason. There was a reason why you didn't get that piece of property. There's a reason why you ended up where you are. And we are so thankful that we ended up where we are with the people that we now are involved with, doing our dual homesteading with both properties where animals are here and there. So it's definitely been a blessing moving to where we ended up. So.
Right. And good morning, Wandering Wayward Soul. It's something that takes perspective and time, and your mom saying that is because she's had a lot of stuff like that happen, through her life, where a lot of stuff didn't happen the way she wanted. But if it didn't, just like if you really want to think about it, had that marriage not happened, had those 2 people not met, you guys wouldn't have met.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
One moment in time that you don't know what kind of effect it's going to have on the future with everybody else. So
yeah, I totally agree.
Well, I really appreciate you guys being here today. Is there anything that you would tell people in about a minute about your channel, to have them go check you out?
Well, I mean, like I said, we're trying to document our family's lives and our homesteading and putting out videos that, you know, will help other homesteaders. Please feel free to check out our channel. We're going to be putting more videos up here shortly. We have new animals to introduce to our channel that we haven't made videos of yet. And just keep going. If you're starting out on YouTube or homesteading, just keep going. It's going to be rough. It's going to be tough, but at the same time, it's very rewarding in the end.
And it'll get easier, I promise.
Yes, it does get easier.
Yeah. And Britton Hart Farm Homestead, before we go, they want to know, is there anything that you would change or have done different before starting your homestead?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think the way that we prepared for being able to start our homestead is what allowed us to do what we needed to do when we got here. It's all about pre-preparing, making sure that you have the knowledge that you need in order to take care of the animals that you want, and or the animals that you may need for your specific property. So
awesome. It's good advice. I will be back on this afternoon with a hangout stream for you guys. Hang out and connect and all that kind of stuff. But go over to Roy and Becky's Travels. Go see them live. And I will see you guys later today. Stop waiting for life to happen and make life happen. Later, guys.
Later.